I have something frozen on my screen, so I can't get to the part where we actually come to you. Now we're here. I'm still going to have to figure out how to get off of that. Welcome back to Resistance Chicks. We're your hosts, Leah and Michelle. Today is Sunday, the 8th of July. Welcome to our European and UK news show. You're going to start straight off, right, with the rescue of the Thai boys that we brought to you on Friday. Maybe give a little backstory of how they got stuck for people that are not... Okay, hang on. Pause. The biggest news that you will hear.
It's not... Okay. As we're watching a puppy. This is one of the cutest puppies you'll ever see.
This is Bailey.
And she just needed to say hi.
She just did need to say hi, yes I did, with the puppy face. Oh my goodness.
All right, baby. Be good. You go.
You are.
Oh
okay, so this is really nerve-wracking and exciting at the same time. The whole world is watching this. Even Donald Trump.
Oh, wait.
No, we're not up.
Oh, I am. Okay, good.
Even Donald Trump is tweeting about it. So far, 4 boys have been rescued.
Fantastic.
Very exciting.
The rescue mission as it's going so far. Obviously, it's important to point out there are still 6 boys and the soccer coach that need to be rescued from this cage. But so far, this has happened far quicker than any of us expected.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing, and you never want to get your hopes too far up, especially as Pete knows in the middle of an operation, the very beginning could go well and things could change. But it seems like this is actually, basically ticking along right where they need. And I think what's the most amazing thing about it is when you have a bunch of countries coming together. You look at it, these are 13 people. Anywhere in the world there's tragedies happening to 13 people at any given moment, but this is something that's capturing Americans' hearts. You think about the fact that it was 2 British divers basically out. We had all lost hope. They popped up in the middle of nowhere and found these 13 people basically clinging to the side of this cave. And if I was a British citizen and I heard them say, I'm from the UK, to these teenagers, I would have been extremely proud too. So it's fun to see the world kind of come together at this moment and focus on some hopefully good news when this is all done.
Adam, you've been a big proponent of America's involvement in the world, the cooperation with friendly countries, maintaining alliances. How significant is the fact that our military has worked with the Thai military for years, done training exercises together, so that in a moment like this, even if you haven't planned for this contingency, you have those relationships, friendly relationships, mutual training, so that you can come together in moments of crisis?
It's amazing. So I remember in Iraq, and we actually worked with the special ops doing what I do as a pilot. And I remember meeting with some of the folks from the British SAS, and they talked to us and said, hey, we have dogs. We learned how to use dogs from you guys, but you guys learned from us a lot about urban combat. And as you remember, Pete, when we went into Iraq, we actually weren't that knowledgeable about urban combat because we hadn't been in it in a while. And so to see, allied forces be able to share this information, not just in wartime, but now the Thai Navy SEALs that have such a great relationship with the U.S. Navy SEALs and learn a lot of their skill set. It is very rare that you ever fight an enemy you train. Of course, there's always a chance you will sometime. But for the most part, whether it's U.S. aid, whether it's U.S. military involvement, whether it's just a trading relationship, very rarely do 2 people with a tight relationship like that ever fight. And frankly, they'll fight with us when we need them. If, for instance, we ever have a situation with China or, God forbid, North Korea.
Can you pause that or go back on that video?
Just because I don't know if you have that regional presence there as well.
Where I was just watching that kind of little figure of a map of the cave, and that narrow spot that was right here a minute ago, it said the narrow spot that it's too small for oxygen tanks.
It is the width of 2 pencils. 2 pencils. What I said.
But wait a minute, I don't understand.
Absolutely.
Somebody said
about
2
communication.
pencils.
We've been talking to some experts, some former Navy SEAls about this. But communicating not just before you go into this mission, you got to huddle together and figure out what your plan is going to be. You would think they probably had some practice missions before this. Unfortunately, a Navy SEAL in Thailand died in this practice mission. But the communication then when you get to these boys and how you walk them through this 2.5 miles to get out of this cave. You know this from serving our country, but so much of this is teamwork, and so much of this is communicating and all being on the same page.
As pilots, we call it chair flying. So before I would go fly in Iraq, we would meet with, basically for an hour, we'd go over all the threats. We'd go where our target set was today, what we were doing, who had what responsibilities in the cockpit. what we would do in case of an emergency. It sometimes felt like it was rote, but once it gets rote is when you know in a reactive environment, you know, if I'm between these chambers and we happen to lose contact with him, or we lose contact with the next diver we're passing this person to, or we have a low oxygen situation, all of these scenarios, they have basically chair flied to know that if this happens, this is how they react. And that leads to this, what I think is an extremely efficient exit strategy that we've seen. So I think when we get the stories, when all the fog of war's gone on this, it's going to be pretty amazing.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited for these young men.
Although I'm on the edge of my seat, like I'm nervous because there are 13 boys.
I think there's 12.
12 boys. 4 are out. That's still 8 left. Takes how many hours? 3 hours?
No, it's
11.
11 hours to get one boy out.
And I'm trying to...
I thought that all that flooding was supposed to happen today.
Oh, yeah. So I guess hopefully it's holding off.
Somebody had said in the chat that they were holding off the rescue for a minute. So I don't know.
We are back with a Fox News alert. A life-saving mission and a race against Mother Nature happening right now in real time in Thailand to rescue the boys' soccer team trapped inside a cave for 16 days.
The best Navy SEALs from around the world, including the U.S., right here in the U.S., putting their own lives on the line trying to save these boys. They're diving through narrow passages, hoping to bring out each boy one by one. Each trip will take 11 hours to walk, climb, and swim their way out. And the first could emerge in about 90 minutes. That's a best-case scenario, right?
But the dark and dangerous cave isn't their only challenge. Another, of course, severe storm is brewing. The worry is that the water levels inside will continue to rise, and that has been the struggle from the very beginning. We want to bring in now Jake Zwig, a former Navy SEAL and combat swimmer who knows all too well the dangers of these diving conditions. Good to have you on with us this morning. Unfortunately, under these circumstances, give us all a sense of just how dangerous this dive is. You talk about these boys. Some of them don't even know how to swim, let alone dive. You look at the passageways. I mean, take a close look. At certain points, it gets as skinny as one single human to fit through there. How difficult is this?
I would say it's really difficult. You know, I would compare it to climbing Mount Everest at this point. You know, 6% of the people die on Mount Everest. We've already had one fatality, unfortunately. There could be a couple more at the end of this. Knowing the people that are over there, the Navy SEALs, Thailand, American, you know, some of the British cave experts that are there, I highly doubt they'll lose one of the kids, but there may be one of the rescuers that loses his life in this whole thing.
Jake, I spoke to one of your former colleagues as a Navy SEAL, Dave Sears, a couple of days ago. And he said Thursday night that he was not optimistic about getting all of the boys out. He was hoping, he was praying for their safety, but he was just saying that when you look at, you know, just normal recreational scuba diving, there's already dangers inherent in that. And he said cave diving is just exponentially much more difficult. Can you walk us through that?
So, you know, in recreational scuba diving, you can always come to the surface and breathe clean air. You know, in this situation, if you get in trouble under the water, you can't come up to the surface, and that's what poses all the problems. There is no out. If you run into trouble, you know, you better have more air on you, like the Thailand Navy SEAL didn't, and he passed away.
Wow.
You know, it's easy to say, but it's a really bad situation. You just can't get out of the water. You know, you're in a cave.
Jake, and then the kids, we're told none of them know how to swim. They're young, they're scared, they've never been underwater, let alone scuba diving. How would
I'm terrified for these children.
It's difficult enough to keep yourself calm as a SEAL, even as an expert.
And then
how do you keep a kid calm and hold them along? I mean, you talk about the risk to the divers. Of course, the kids just as much at risk, if not more.
Yeah, I'd say they're probably going to give them a little sedative to calm them down a little bit.
Hey, smart.
And then, you know, you're just going to have to hope for the best. You know, the good thing is they're probably going to have Kirby Morgan full hooded face masks on, so they can't spit out the regulator. So even if they panic and pass out, you know, at the end of the day, they're still going to be alive when you get them out because they'll still be breathing.
Right.
So, you know, they probably got a couple contingencies for them freaking out. But at the end of the day, they're little, so they'll hold on to them and drag them through the tunnels.
Well, we are 8 hours in, as we're being told, with the first boy being rescued out. We are all hoping and praying that he does come out with the diver safely at the end of this. Timing. Talk to us about why this takes so long. Should we expect it to take a matter of days at this point?
Yeah, I mean, the big deal is people don't understand how much gear these guys have. They're normally traveling with 2 full scuba tanks and a reserve pony bottle. You know, they could have upwards of 150 pounds of gear, and it's not just a straight swim. They've got to climb. They've got to get out and walk. You know, they've got to re-tank up. So there's a whole lot of stuff that has to happen for them to actually get to the kids. Then they have to do it in the backwards fashion, put all that stuff back on with the kids now. So it's a whole bunch of different steps to this process. You know, they got a lot of gear, and they're not just swimming the whole time. They're climbing rocks. They're getting out and walking. They got to take all the gear off.
Wow.
You know, there's a whole lot of stages to this mission, much like climbing Mount Everest. You know, no one just walks to the top of it.
It's a great comparison how prepared you need to be. Jake, before we let you go briefly, do you know how many Americans are there? Just briefly, do you have any sense?
I would guess there's probably close to 100 at this point. I know there's a SEAL team out there.
How about divers themselves? Do you know?
No, I don't know specifically. I know they're talking about 3 to 1 kids. There's probably a whole bunch of redundancy there. There's a whole bunch of stuff that has to be staged. You know, if I had to take a guess, there's probably 150 divers on site there working.
Wow.
All right.
True expert.
Thank
you for your time.
Jake, thank you
Oh my
for your service
gosh.
as well.
So I don't remember when it was, but Leah had it in her to go to Mammoth Cave. And she wanted to go spelunking. That's cave exploring, whatever. I'm terrified. I don't want to go. We haven't gone. That was like 10 years ago, maybe more. We're not going. I'm not going into a perfectly good cave that, you know, doesn't need to be gone into. Like, just not going to do it. Claustrophobia is a real thing. I cannot imagine being these children. They can't swim. You're talking about that one passage that was 2 pencil. I was really confused about that. 2 pencil widths wide. Those children are small, but that's literally, you're a diver and you're having to hand off your precious cargo, one of these children, and hoping that somebody on the other side is going to receive this child. As a diver, I would be terrified, not for my own life so much as for the life of the child.
I'm going to play you guys some more videos here.
This is crazy.
A very good morning here in Thailand. It was D-Day for the rescue. It is now Freedom Day for at least 2 of those trapped boys. Just a few minutes ago, right behind me along this narrow, rutted jungle track, 2 ambulances, one by one, came very, very slowly with their precious cargo. We believe there was 1 boy in each ambulance, and they just passed us about a minute and a half ago. First of all, on their way to a helicopter, and they will then be transferred to the hospital about a 15-minute helicopter ride away. Right now, we believe other boys, and they may be taking them all out 2 by 2, are either wading or walking, perhaps even diving through the murky waters of that cave system. The rescue has happened faster than we expected. It began maybe 9 hours ago with 10 divers getting to the cave where the boys have been trapped for 2 weeks and 1 day.
So those 10 divers took 2 out. That makes sense. If they said 3 to 1.
I'm
A very good
I can't even.
morning.
Sorry, my escape button isn't working.
Sorry, I'm hoping that this video is not playing because I just pulled up an article. I wanted to kind of see the latest. 13 minutes ago in Maia, these 2 people have been speaking, or excuse me, yeah, these 2 boys, I guess, have been speaking to the mother. No, I don't know who these people are, but somebody's been speaking to one of the mothers of the boys that were freed from the cave. So I can't even do the name.
Monkol.
Thank you. 14 has been named by Thai media as one of the boys who was freed on Sunday. Namham said she had only learned he may have been freed from reports on social media, which the families are tracking from the cave site. I just heard his name and I was happy enough. She said she was sleeping at the cave site on Sunday night with many of the other parents and had not yet thought about what she would say once she saw him. She said, let me meet him first. So it says as of 2 hours ago, because I'm reading a lot in the chat about people having died already, multiple people, they're stopping the thing. So I wanted to kind of see what the latest was. It says 4 boys have been rescued, and this was as of 2 hours ago. They've been safely transferred to the hospital. The operation is scheduled to resume sometime around 8 a.m. local time, whatever.
Yes, BST.
2 o'clock BST time. The remaining 8 boys and their coach are underground in the original location. When they reached the surface, the divers turned and hugged the boys, who were all full-face scuba mask after completing the 3.2 kilometer journey through the muddy, jagged cave. Rain on Saturday evening and throughout Sunday was thought to be the catalyst for the rescue operation, but appears not to have significantly slowed the progress, and the operation proceeded much faster than expected. That's good news.
Due to the walkable water level in the cave after it was launched at 10 a.m.
13 foreign divers and 5 Thai Navy SEALs made up the rescue team and were among a team of 90 divers involved in the rescue overall.
There were a lot of, sounds like there were some passages where they thought they would have to dive through, but they were able to walk through.
Right, that's really, really good news.
So I guess this is just some footage.
Okay, let's do it here. Traffic noise.
Here, I'm not exactly sure what that one was. Here's some pictures. Underground in the cave. So many pumps. The only reason the water level's down is because they were just really...
Millions and millions and millions of gallons have been pumped out since this operation started.
Right, exactly. Exactly. And here's a picture of kind of the top view of what's going on in here. So I guess they're not... They're getting them out of the cave. They're not... drilling through. They're just getting them out.
So what is so interesting to me, and you guys have to keep this in mind, is they were doing this as kind of a rite of passage, and then the water levels rose, and they had to keep going in further and further.
Right.
So that means that the boys and the people have already gone this way once. They got there. All right. So I think that gives me a little bit more, without scuba tanks, without all this gear, that gives me a little bit more hope that the boys know what's coming, because while it took 2 weeks to traverse that space of time, they all made it.
The rescues apparently chose not to wait for Elon Musk's kid-sized submarine, which he supposedly started building on Saturday to ship to Thailand within a day. Musk said building the sub would only take 8 hours. Accounting for the time of Musk's tweet, the vessel was completed some 2 hours before the operation kicked off, but it would take another 17 hours to transport it.
Wow.
Many commenters doubted the announced plan was anything more than a PR stunt on Musk's part, but how would you get the little kid-sized submarine through
all the walking and stuff?
No, not just the walking, but the little areas.
Right.
So, that's the update on that.
If you don't know who he is, he's Tesla.
All right, so Theresa May is hanging in the balance right now. Boris Yeltsin, oh my gosh.
You keep doing that.
Just Boris Johnson. No, Boris Johnson.
Oh, okay. Because every time she goes to say Mr. Gorbachev, tear down that wall, it's Yeltsin for her.
Boris Johnson, in a 4-letter attack on May, the foreign secretary stuns the summit with foul-mouthed outbursts, but Prime Minister outguns him in the Brexit showdown. Boris Johnson has opened up an astonishing new government split with a crude outburst against Theresa May's new Brexit policy. The foreign minister stunned fellow ministers with his 4-letter dismissal of the Prime Minister's plan on Friday's special Chequers summit designed to unite the cabinet. His comment risks making him the first victim of Mrs. May's fresh crackdown on dissent. Mr. Johnson, who has been accused of betrayal by the Tory Brexiteers for not blocking Mrs. May's soft Brexit proposals, spoke out against the plan for the UK to remain in line with Brussels.
Jim West says that you just implied Russian collusion.
Oh, yes, I'm sure I did.
That was good.
According to a reliable source, he complained that anyone obliged to defend the proposals would be like polishing a turd. He added sarcastically, "Luckily we have some expert turd polishers," shooting a glance at one of Mrs. May's spin doctors. And actually, if that's what it was, her message was basically a well-polished. Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Challenging the Prime Minister's new policy to her face, he said that her decision to try to align the UK trading rules with the EU would reduce Britain to the humiliating status of vassal state. He also took issue with her cherished new customs plan, the facilitated customs arrangement, claiming it would be a serious inhibitor to striking new trade deals with non-EU countries. His outburst was revealed just hours after Mrs. May tried to draw a red line under weeks of open dissent from her ministers, vowing that from now on, she will enforce collective cabinet responsibility and sack any ministers who defy her. Sounds like a tyrant. Doesn't sound like somebody who's representing the people, but herself and the European Union. It's time for May to go.
Yes.
She's not representing the people anymore.
No.
She literally says, okay, if you dissent from me, you're gone. Some senior Tories believe she may be forced to fire Mr. Johnson. A Mail on Sunday poll today endorses her handling of the cabinet showdown, with 33% of the voters supporting her Brexit plan and 23% opposing it. So we shall see. We shall see. We shall see.
Again, if you missed our show on Friday and we talked about actually the biggest news of all is that the Resistance chicks got a call into Nigel again. But on that show that Nigel did when we called in on Thursday, he said, or no, this was when he was on Tucker Carlson that night. He said that May is the worst prime minister like ever. That's literally what he said. And he's not wrong. And you all have had some doozies in the past. So this is really saying something.
So the MPs are demanding no confidence vote after May's Brexit sellout. And then Boris calls it a big turd. Theresa May has been unable to contain Brexiteer anger over her turd Brexit proposals, with backbenchers reportedly moving to trigger a vote of no confidence in her leadership.
I should have done this article because I appreciate the word turd, and my mom does not, and so you're having trouble saying it as if it is a curse word. Like you're kind of like barely getting it out. Yeah. I would have just said it. He's like a turd, man. He called it a turd.
Left Liberal News anchor and political insider Robert Peston cited sources confirming former letters calling for a confidence vote are being sent to Graham Brady, who chairs the 1922 committee of Tory MPs who do not hold government positions. According to the ITV host, the letters appear to be a spontaneous response to the Prime Minister traducing those who vote to leave the EU rather than a concerted effort by Jacob Rees-Mogg, the party's leading backbencher, Brexiteer, and his European Research Group faction. So, let's see. Reported by the Sunday Times, with backbenchers unable to stomach May's Brexit proposals, which would see Britain effectively remain inside the single market for both goods and agri-products and submit to a common rule book dictated by the European Court of Justice. A common rule book dictated by the European Court of Justice. That sounds awesome. As well as a host of commitments to match EU rules on state aid, environmental policy, social policy, and more. Sounds like you're still in the European Union. You just don't get to make decisions in it, really. Yay, fun. Oh, keep going. Looks like she wants up. Yeah.
The puppy is getting up into the guitar. That's fantastic. Oh my gosh. Sorry, let me go back to see. So Sean says, if Brown had had his way, we would have had the euro and be part of the United States of Europe by now. Very, very true. Boris Johnson even looks like a Muppet Show character, says so what? I actually agree with that statement. He absolutely does. So everybody's kind of going through and listing the prime ministers that they did not think were that awesome.
But there's good news in Italy. Italy promises billions of euros to Libya if it accepts the return of migrants.
After arriving in Tripoli for talks with his Libyan counterpart, Italy's foreign minister has secured a new deal on migration. Italy will invest billions of euros in Libya, and Libya will accept the return of thousands of migrants who managed to make it across the Mediterranean.
I would like to say that this visit is a start-up of a more intensive cooperation that we hope and we are intended to have with the Libyan government. For us, stability and peace in Libya are essential elements for an equilibrium in the region, in the Mediterranean, and therefore in our direct interest, not only as Italy, but also as European Union.
So they're
arriving in
taking the first steps, which Mrs. Merkel should have all along, but George Soros, he won't, and he doesn't want to, because I'm going to bring up this art. I want to try to find my article here where, Salvini, Soros wants to fill Italy in Europe with migrants because he likes the slaves.
And I've been saying it, Ernie. We have been saying it the entire time, whether we're talking about the migration of Mexicans to the United States, whether we're talking about migrants from Africa or the Middle East into, Europe, whatever. It has nothing to do with a bleeding heart for caring about people and wanting to give them a good life in the new country that they're going to migrate to. It has everything to do with a buck, with making money, with keeping people slaves, keeping people underneath of them, and using them.
Yeah, absolutely. Italy's Prime Minister and Minister of the Interior, Matteo Salvini, has infuriated billionaire plutocrat George Soros, claiming the financier wants to fly to Europe with the migrant slaves. The Lega leader, every time I see that I think of Legos, who has surged in popularity since coming to office as head of one half of Italy's new populist coalition government, made the comments in an interview. He accused the convicted inside trader, I love that, of financing the so-called civil society NGOs, which have been racing the Libyan Coast Guard to pick up illegal migrants from smuggler boats a few miles off the North African coast in order to ferry them to distant European ports.
Somebody thinks that your Italian accent's like your Swedish accent.
Let me work on it. Soros wants to fill Italy with Europe with the migrants, Salvini told the viewers. It is really close. Good. But you know what? Like, a lot of European accents are a lot alike. It is true.
It's this thing that...
Adding that would be Italy would become a giant refuge camp. Because he likes the slaves. And it does sound the same. It really does, doesn't it?
It's multifaceted accent. You just tweak it a little bit. Duh.
The populist leader shared the comments on his social media so they could be seen by an even wider audience. And of course, George Soros was like, stop, Salvini, repeating these similar and false statements about Mr. Soros. Well, they're true. So no more families with the mom and a dad. Isn't it way better to have an open society with 6 dads, 3 moms, 18 great-grandparents, and 6 cousins who also change gender according to the mood of the day, and sometimes they smoke pot together? He quipped sarcastically. This is the project they want to leave our children. Why? Because then you no longer have a man or a woman. You have a number, then an item with no rights, no history, no thought, no nationality, no identity. They are very well organized enemies and they are very rich. But we'll prevail! Because history tells us that when people wake up and realize they're in danger, they react. Man, I wish she was speaking this in English because, like, that would totally go viral. Could you imagine? That is like... So no more families with a mom and a dad. Isn't it way better to have an open society with 6 dads, 3 moms, 18 great-grandparents, and 6 cousins who also change their gender according to the mood of the day? And sometimes they smoke pot together?
See, that was better in your English.
That's hilarious.
American accent, I should say.
That's hilarious. Oh my gosh. These Italians in power right now are just totally cracking me up.
I think they are not pulling any punches.
No.
They say it like it is.
Dude.
And it shows the heart of the Italian people who are just daggum fed up. Because when you get that kind of sentiment coming from people in the highest places of government, you know that's how the people are feeling too. We're just done. No filter. That's it. You're going to hear it like it is. We're done.
So we covered this on Friday, but I'm going to cover it again because the Gateway Pundit put out an article yesterday on it. But we covered the fact that, or the story, that there was a migrant, a Muslim migrant, who told a woman that he was going to kill her and their daughter. And she had tried to get a restraining order, and she did for a time. Then the judge dropped it, saying there's no threat to your life. He ended up killing her and beheading the toddler in a subway. And somebody came across it, and they recorded it.
Well, but they didn't actually record You couldn't really see it.
And you could see their legs.
But you could hear what they were saying.
And you could see the legs. And the media is blacked out. They're not allowed to report on it because when you say migrant beheads baby, and that's your headline.
Sounds bad.
It sounds really bad. But the fact that they are trying to hide it actually is making it worse because now it's everywhere. Okay? It's everywhere. Train station in Hamburg. I am not going to play the video, but you could look it up if you want. It's pretty gruesome. I'm sure So What knows exactly what they're saying in this video. But that just goes to show you that the censorship only goes one way.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad. In England, new female genital mutilation case every 2 hours, experts are saying. Around 4,500 new cases of female genital mutilation were recorded in England over the last year. So I'm just wondering where Piers Morgan is on all this, because he's so upset with us and our guns, right? But like, and he'll talk about this, but he doesn't get angry. He doesn't get as angry as us having guns, with the right to have guns to protect ourselves. It's absolutely insane. Between April 2017 and March 2018, around 60 to 100 women and girls who visited a doctor or midwife had been exposed to the form of abuse at some point. Some cases had already been recorded, but
60 to 100 women and girls from April to March. So pretty much 1 year. April of 2017 to March of this year. 60 to 100.
Well, what they're saying is that those were the newly reported cases. I don't know if that's brand new. But some cases have already been reported, but 4,495 were being logged for the first time since the government made it compulsory for medical practitioners to report cases in 2015. Since then, there have been 28,326 medical attendances for females with FGM and 16,265 newly recorded cases. However, an estimated 137,000 women and girls in England would have been exposed to the practice. Past 12 months, nearly half of the attendance cases were in London. Half just in London alone. And the rest in North England and the Midlands and East and the rest. In other cases where both the age of the victim and the place of birth could be determined, 86% of the women and the girls were born and had FGM undertaken in an African country. FGM has been a criminal offense in Britain since 1985. So, horrible abuse here. In response to the new NHS data, the National FGM Center called for more to be done to support the survivors and protect girls at risk for the practice. There has yet been a single successful prosecution to hold perpetrators to account. It is child abuse. And Tommy Robinson is sitting in jail, in solitary confinement, because he reported on a Muslim grooming gang. And no one has been, what about 5-hour justice? Oh, I caught you with the knife. I caught you female genitally mutilating somebody. You're going to jail. 5 hours. You're done.
Right.
It's solitary confinement. You're locked away.
So, on this topic, because I'm kind of glancing at the chat here. When it comes to this specific topic, I'm going to ask that you, for just this, shove circumcision aside. Because people have arguments about that, and people disagree about that. And there is, if you're a Christian or a Jew, there is no comparison. Because we have a biblical precedence set for circumcision. Now, then the New Testament, we're not going to argue that, okay? But
honestly, what happens when you do this, and everybody, like Ayana Hirsi
physically different. It's totally different.
Ayana Hirsi Ali and people who have suffered it, what it does...
Well, there are different levels.
I know, but when you bring up circumcision, when we're talking about FGM, what you're literally saying is, I know that you, and this is what you're saying is that if somebody's like totally paralyzed versus somebody who just fell for a second, like, I mean, I don't know how to compare it to you except for just to tell you the reality of the differences. Okay, guys, they making babies. They enjoy making babies. They ain't got no pain. They ain't got no issues. Okay?
When you do FGM, the chances of having infection, the chances of having every form of pleasure taken away for the rest of your life, all of this stuff, complications, it is not meant to be a thing.
And it's done once a girl hits like puberty.
Exactly.
Where she's awake.
Right.
And a lot of times without any anesthesia.
Right. And a lot of times with lots of people there.
Circumcision does not ruin your life forever.
Right.
FGM is literally done to make girls, and for the most part, make it so that they don't enjoy having, relations when they grow up, so that they don't go and have affairs.
So
and
I feel like bringing circumcision into this topic,
it's so
takes away
unfair.
What happens to the girls, and I think that's really, really,
you
really
cannot
wrong.
when you try to bring it up or compare the two.
So don't even bring it into the conversation. If you want to have a separate conversation about circumcision, let's do that. We will. That's fine. I have no problem doing that.
But here's the thing.
But you can't bring it into this conversation.
There have been studies, okay, where adult men have been studied.
Yeah.
Who were uncircumcised and then became circumcised.
Right. Say there's no difference.
There's either no difference or it was better for them or they stopped having infections.
Right.
So literally as an adult.
Yes.
Who has done things both ways.
Right.
Men say, I'm either better or I'm the same. Okay? So it's not the same. It's not the same. It's not the same.
So I don't want you guys to... I'm asking you not to bring circumcision into this topic because it nullifies, it debases what happens to the girls.
In your daily conversations, you have to be informed with these facts. So I just gave you facts. Right. Right? So now that you're informed with those facts, when your friends bring it up, okay, what it does is it's what the devil does. Well... so-and-so does this, so this must be bad, or this must not be as bad, or it's not...
or you don't have room to speak because you do this.
Right.
When there is no comparison, it is not the same topic at all. At all.
And you can talk about whether, you should circumcise or not.
No, that's a good topic, but it's just completely separate.
Right.
It just is.
German Interior Minister, illegal migration is no longer worth it. So Horst Seehofer has previously insisted on taking unilateral steps to order to strengthen the country's borders and stop the massive influx of migrants. And the bitter dispute with German Chancellor Angela Merkel over migration history, Seehofer said, stressing that the government is on a course to diminish support for the right-wing party Alternative for Germany. He's basically saying, listen, the AfD is going to rise if we don't do something. Mm-hmm. And they are. They're getting more and more popular every single day. And this AfD woman here, she's a lesbian, which cracks me up. Just random. But she is awesome, and she's on fire. And here she is. We saw her on Friday, I believe, denouncing Seehofer.
Right.
And here she is denouncing Miss Merkel.
I love it.
Wait.
You can't. She doesn't speak English.
How much longer do you want to test our patience and prolong this unworthy theater, Mrs. Merkel? What else happened? What else has to happen?
They need to know what it says.
To convince you. But my German's good.
Okay.
How much longer do you want to keep us waiting with bluffs and pseudo-agreements, action announcements full of back doors and side exits out of which nothing ever comes?
Voller Hintertüren und Seitenausgängen hinhalten, aus denen doch nie etwas wird. Sie sind auf der ganzen
You have completely failed. You have achieved nothing more than sitting in the seat of a chancellor for a bit longer, who is in charge of a long, internally broken coalition with all tricks and guile. And for this you divide Germany, and for this you divide Europe, and for this you divide and take apart your shaky coalition, and in the end, your own party.
Machen Sie also dem Trauerspiel ein Ende und treten Sie bitte ab.
Bitte ab.
She said, put an end to this tragedy and please step down.
We want to say that in German.
Bitte ab.
Bitte ab.
Fantastic.
Step down.
I love this lady. I absolutely love her. I'm glad you played her again.
Step down, woman. Just step out of the way. You're in the way.
Fantastic.
Italy has caused a meltdown. 700,000 migrants waiting to cross into Europe from Libya. They need liberty in Libya. A bottleneck of 700,000 migrants is waiting in Libya to cross the Mediterranean to Europe. It's pretty close to 1 million people.
Oh my gosh.
Just think about it. What's happening here?
Oh my gosh.
The National Crime Agency has said the number greater than the population of Leicester and highlights the difficulties of facing the EU in controlling migrants seeking a new life in Europe. Senior members of the NCA, dubbed Britain's FBI, revealed the figures as they detailed the increasingly tough battle they face to stop people smugglers. NCA directors warned of a sharp rise in attempted illegal sea crossings from Africa to Europe this year, with 300 people drowning last week. Migrants then crossing Europe and using increasingly devious ways to evade detection, including hiding in coffin-sized secret compartments in vehicles. Migration across the Mediterranean from Africa is a critical issue for the EU, with member states arguing over the best way to deal with it. But I have to tell you, it's brought out the best in the best. And, I do hope that this ends.
Right.
You don't want something to prolong forever, but I'm hoping that the end of it brings people to Jesus Christ.
You know how to pronounce it's just Leicester.
Leicester.
You just pronounce it Leicester.
Just
Just Leicester. Just Leicester. Thanks,
Okay.
Britt Baza.
Thanks.
And everyone else.
Tom Dowdall, NCA Deputy Director of Organized Immigration Crime, said the problem was growing. Attempted crossings to Greece and Turkey were up 47% on last year, with those to Spain and Italy up 75% just over last year.
It's a bit of a show, as we've now found out, because Poland and Hungary and I think Italy and a number of other countries, the Czech Republic as well, has said, no, there's no such agreement. I mean, what is she talking about? I don't think this policy was ever meant to seriously be implemented in the first place. I mean, everything that's ever been done on a voluntary basis basically never happens. I mean, I think the whole thing is a bit of a charade. It's a bit of a show to buy time for the CSU, the Bavarian party, to get them over the hump, so to speak. They have to somehow show themselves as a hardline tough guys, at least until the elections in October in Bavaria. And after that, doesn't really matter anymore. Then they got another 4 years to muck around as they like. That's what it looks like to me. It's basically just a show.
And that's talking about the supposed agreement that Merkel came to with the other EU members.
Can I say to my honourable friend that he does raise an important...
No, Mrs. May, you cannot say anything. We're not letting you speak today.
The NGOs are supposed to rescue people once they are more than 12 miles from the Libyan coast, but they come in much closer. They make it easier for the crime groups who now send a boat with not enough fuel on purpose, and they know they will be picked up. It's so devious. It's awful. It's awful. It's so bad. A single boat from Africa to Europe can net the people smugglers up to $300,000. Pounds.
He said you were getting ready to say dollars because I know you.
He said after the destruction of the jungle camp in Calais in 2016, which had up to 10,000 migrants, the issue has now shifted to Belgium. Organized crime gangs are loading people into lorries before bringing them through France and on to the UK. There are adapted hides in the rear of vehicles, an area for 6 to 8 people, with welded false doors and coffin hides. Mr. Dodal said complicit lorry drivers were charging up to $2,000 per migrant. Wow. Iraqi, Kurd, Afghan, and Albanian gangs were the most prolific people smugglers to the UK. So you're smuggling in these people, and you're expecting them to be good, honest, perfect citizens.
Right.
Who are fantastic. People who would be welded into the back of a lorry.
I would be afraid of getting, of running out of air.
Well, some of them do die. On Thursday, illegal immigrant Albanian Afram from Barnet, north of London, was jailed for 6 years for trying to smuggle 8 people into the UK in a boat. But here's the thing. That's one guy. 8 people.
Wow.
Where are the other people who are bringing... here's the thing. They're so busy putting Tommy Robinson in solitary stinking confinement for 23 hours a day. Couldn't you just put a little ankle bracelet on him? Couldn't you seriously?
You would think there are bigger
put him under
fish
some sort
to
of
fry.
house arrest.
But apparently, and this is something worth
comparing. How much
comparing.
does the ankle bracelets cost? How much does it cost to house Tommy Robinson 24/7?
This is worth comparing. Is the severity of calling out facts about a rape gang? We don't even have to say the religion that shall not be named rape gang. Is that offense greater than entering into a country illegally or helping somebody enter into a country illegally. They are saying that it is. It blows my mind.
And that actually brings me to this video that Britt Braza sent me. And he sent me, Britt Braza sent me a lot of, tell me that.
Say it ain't so, Sam.
I closed out my links.
You did.
I'll tell you what, you bring it up. It's the one, Michelle something is round table with
Michelle Malkin.
Sadiq Khan. No, it's a BBC. It said, I'm telling you what it says.
Oh, you're saying my name?
No, I'm telling you what the title says.
It says her name?
Yes.
Okay.
In the message.
On your Facebook?
On Resistance Chicks or mine, in the message.
Okay.
I didn't share it.
All right.
But anyways, it brings me up because, brings
you up.
Brings me up. That's Caitlin Johnson. That's not what I want to bring up. The hypocrisy of what's happening surrounding Tommy, because everybody's like, he broke the law, he needs to go to jail. Are you serious? People enter into your country illegally, and that's breaking the law.
And you
but
welcome
they don't
them
go
and
to jail.
give them,
you bring
free
back
healthcare.
ISIS members. Like, you're not sticklers for the law. It's
I don't say you as in our viewers.
Into the people, not you, but the people. Erdogan in Turkey purges 18,000 civil servants with one decree. It didn't take long for Erdogan, who 2 weeks ago was reelected as Turkish president with a majority of the vote. A majority of the vote. And the critical extra benefit of undisputed executive powers.
Vote my way or die! That's Turkey.
To flew his newly founded muscles. And on Sunday, Turkey provided a glimpse of what to expect under Erdogan's new regime when it issued a decree dismissing more than 18,000 civil servants, half of which were from the police force. No. It literally has, you'll see it.
I'm probably not going to find it.
You keep going. Ahead of the expected, do you want me to just stand here while you keep, keep going. It's right there. Whoop, down.
Right here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ahead of the expected lifting of a 2-year-old state of emergency later this month, the first imposed after an attempted coup in July 2016. The announcement comes one day before Erdogan swears his presidential oath on Monday. According to the decree, 18,632 people, including nearly 9,000 police officers and 6,000 members of the military and 199 academics from universities across the country, as well as hundreds of ordinary teachers, were just fired. Their passports will be canceled. This is more than just a firing. This is total communist police state. Turkish authorities had already dismissed around 160,000 government workers since the failed military intervention, of whom more than 50,000 people have been formally charged and kept in jail during their trials, which I'm sure are totally just, and that justice will be served for these people.
That's sarcasm.
Turkey has been under a state of emergency for the past 2 years and declared that after a failed coup attempt in July 2016, Erdogan has blamed the 77-year-old cleric, this guy Fethullah, who lived in rural Pennsylvania, for somehow orchestrating the coup, and has sacked or arrested tens of thousands of people he claims are part of this shadow government. And meanwhile, Turkey's Western allies have kind of criticized the crackdown, accusing Erdogan of using his, power to quash dissent, and yet despite lots of harsh words and condemnation, there's been no actual crackdown. So we have, oh my gosh, Putin is so awful, he's a dictator. We have, oh, look at Bashar al-Assad, but we're going to work with Turkey and Erdogan.
It blows my mind. Turkey is like this close to getting into the EU right now, and Erdogan is, in my humble opinion, one of the most stealth dictators alive right now. Okay, Putin is not a dictator.
So before you get to that, UK media is actually hilarious to me. You have to laugh or you'll just like get angry, so laugh. Not only are they allowing the baby Trump blimp,
if you guys didn't hear about that, you can go back and watch our Friday show or our call into Nigel, or read my article on resistancechicks.com.
However, the UK media will push and is pushing for pushes an anti-Trump narrative with how to protest the visit coverage. The mainstream media has given breathless coverage on how you too can protest the visit of the democratically elected President of the United States, Britain's closest ally. I'm sure that they did this. It's almost exactly the same as the way they encourage people on how to protest Obama's visits.
Yes.
It's to the T. they've done it for Obama, and they have done it for Clinton and the Bushes, and so they're going to do it now for
They
Trump.
want to make sure that you are very well aware of your rights and your opportunities to go and protest any state visit or unofficial state visit from any president anywhere, but most especially any president of the United States of America. They have a long historic pattern of doing this, of telling you how you can protest all of these presidents leading up till now. That is a complete farce. No, they have not.
So they also have agreed to allow baby Trudeau Trump's baby Macron Trump's, which I do believe is actually more accurate because Macron married his teacher.
I think we are the ones that coined baby Macron.
He is baby Macron. He is definitely married to
He's an infantile
his mother.
leader who did marry someone that could have been his mother. It was actually his teacher, if you are not aware of this. And he bows down to Mrs. Merkel like a dog.
Yes, he went to school. In his class was his teacher's daughter. So just think about that for a moment. She's had a lot of work done, and she's just a old hag, and I can say that because she's just a wicked woman, total child molester.
She's a child molester, so we will forever talk bad about her. I don't care if you once a child molester, always going to be brandished. God can forgive you. I don't have to.
She's proud of it. That's the main thing. So, anyways, I do expect Erdogan to have
you said it right the first time.
Erdogan to be himself in a blimp with his undies on.
Wouldn't that be quite a sight? I might have contributed to that crowdfunding page.
Yes, in his undies.
Erdogan in his underwear.
That's what I want to see.
Because, of course, any Muslim defamed in a balloon type thing would be okay. Not really.
With a piece of bacon.
If we had to do it, I would do Erdogan as a balloon eating a piece of bacon. That is what I would do as my crowdfunding page.
And then they would come and try to kill you, which is why the West is so much more awesome than...
All right, so a lot of people, speaking of this balloon, I know you're not done talking about that, but longbows, can we just have somebody... There's got to be a way to pop that thing. It's a balloon. I keep calling it a blimp over here. It's a blimp. Either way, it's got to be poppable. Put a hole in that baby. A firework? Well, you could go to jail for that. I don't know, about the longbow thing, though. Somebody might find out that you did it.
The taxpayer-funded BBC, which presents itself as politically neutral, told its readers, "Get ready, UK!" when sharing the article, "Giant Trump baby could fly over London for president's visit." Commuter Free Sheet, the Metro, dedicated a whole comment piece to Leo Murray, the self-styled activist and creator of the grotesque 20-foot caricature.
A drone could do it. Are you guys allowed to fly drones
Murray
over there?
called the democratically elected president a tyrant and a despot. Does he write the same about Erdogan?
Erdogan.
Does it matter? Does it matter? You can say both. I've heard both people say both.
Okay, fine.
It doesn't really matter. Just like when I say
that's how you would pop the balloon.
I can say macaroni if I want to. You can't stop me.
I'm not going to stop you. It's a free country. You can say Erdogan. You can say bye-bye. That's it. That's why you like to say that. Erdogan. Gone.
Yeah. If this generation is going to have a fight against... we're going to have to fight fascism again. We may as well have a bit of a laugh while we're doing it. So let's... Bacon blimps, baby. All day long. Bacon is great.
Yeah, you wouldn't even have to make it a religion that shall not be named thing. You could just fly a big balloon of bacon. You know what I mean?
So
or a pig, a flying pig. There was somebody. Britt Boz had wanted me to share the flying pig thing too. I'll find that.
The Mirror, which has replaced its usual red masthead, displays a rainbow to show its support for gay pride. Headlined a Thursday article: "How can I protest against Donald Trump's visit to the UK?" All the marches and demonstrations on how you too can get involved. Did they put up any articles that said how can you celebrate Donald Trump's visit to the UK? Here's the list of the biggest protests. Former newspaper The Independent, which shuttered its print edition following a long decline in readership, continued in the same vein. With the usual suspects of leftist agitators, the Trade Union Congress? I don't know what that is. Stop the War, Friends of the Earth, and Momentum, far left Labour Party. They savored riding on the Trump baby blimp. You can see Mayor of London says Trump angry baby blimp can fly over the city. So there you have it. Just a little bit of bias there. Just a little.
So somebody had, all right, let me get this the way that I want to. Nope. Oh, that's the wrong thing. All right, hang on. I'm going to have to fix that. Technical difficulties. I had actually accidentally shut down like all of Chrome on, oh no.
What? Are we gone?
We're going to be.
What'd you do?
I'm just trying to do something.
What happened?
Leah, the program freezes sometimes.
Okay.
It's just part of
I don't know. I was just asking if you hit a button or...
No, well, I was just trying to do something very normal. That red line should fly up there, and I can grab that screen and pop it up there. Yeah, that's not going to work. I'm trying, but I don't know if we're still going or not. We're not. Why don't you go ask your mother if we're still live? Because if we are, I'll just deal with my completely frozen screen.
Mom, we're frozen. Are we still on? Yeah. Mom, Michelle, we're still on.
Okay.
Baby, this is gonna teach you a lesson, a big old lesson.
You know what? So I'm just gonna. You might not see anything else. I don't even know how we'll shut it down at this point. We'll just let Leah keep going.
All right. We'll just keep going until Mom says we're not on anymore. I love my sister so very much. I can't even tell you. She works really hard on this, and we have technical difficulties, and we don't have, like, hey, tech support.
No, I am the tech support.
She is a tech support, and sometimes when the tech doesn't work, you're just like, work, 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 work. Like that.
Did I do that?
Inside.
Because if I did it out loud, I don't remember doing that.
And I was inside.
But you felt it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I really want you to bring up the video, so hopefully, I don't know if you can press escape or something.
No, I'm not touching it. We'll just finish the entire show out this way.
Oh, I'm going to find a video from, okay.
Maybe Britt Baza could send it to the email. You could pull it up there.
No, I don't want to bring up my email on this thing for everybody to see.
Well, okay.
Video, Francis Macron tells Africans to stay and succeed in Africa and reduce the birth rate. French President Emmanuel Macron has said African nations must do more to keep young people from leaving and work to reduce their birth rates.
I'm pulling up the chat.
To ease the migrant crisis. Good idea. We need more Africans to succeed in Africa, he says.
Yeah, see, that's great.
Yeah, let's build homes for the African youth in Africa. No. See, this isn't how this works. Like, when you give men fish, you got to teach them how. Teach them how to build their own homes. He added that right now, Africans are trying to reach Europe by taking the most crazy risks, by making people traffickers richer and richer. So part of it's right, but he talks out two sides of his mouth. Too many people are immigrating from peaceful nations like Senegal, the Ivory Coast, and Nigeria because of a lack of hope and lack of opportunities, he continued. However, get this. Nigeria's Fulani jihadis grow deadlier than Boko Haram, killing hundreds of Christians in just days. So here, obviously, as a world leader, he doesn't know what's going on in Nigeria, and they're killing Christians. So you know what? Why don't you bring in some Christians into France who are fleeing and need help? Muslim terrorists from the Fulani herdsman group in Nigeria used machetes and firearms to massacre more than 200 people in the predominantly Christian region over a 2-day period in June, a testament to the group's growing lethality, if that's a word, that has far surpassed Boko Haram's. Various news outlets identify the Fulani as herdsmen competing over resources, ravaged by global warming with Christians who have instigated their demise by stealing the Muslim group's cattle. Breitbart News spoke to various analysts and experts who believe the Fulani are deserving of a sinister label beyond just herdsmen. The group carried out massacres across nearly a dozen villages in Nigeria's Christian-majority Plateau state over the weekend of June 23rd to 24th, killing 200 people. The estimated number of farmers who have been killed by the Fulani terrorists so far this year varies from like about 2,000 to 6,000, including women and children.
Wow.
Didi Luganzi with Save the Persecuted Christians, a national coalition of Christian and Jewish faith leaders working to raise grassroots awareness in America about the mistreatment of Christ followers, noted, somehow the Fulani have gone from being recognized as the fourth most deadly terror group in 2015 to simply being herdsmen. Why are herdsmen armed with AK-47s? And who is arming them? Sam Roher, the president of American Pastors Network, provided Breitbart News with pictures of the carnage, the death, just burnings and death. Sorry, naked people, dead people, and what they're doing. And so I want you to pray for Christians in Nigeria and all over the world, echoing Luganzi and McDonald's classification of the Fulani group as members as jihadis. This pro-Christian group says, in my 18 years involvement with this killings, I found the world struggling to give various reasons for it. But whether it is called religious conflict or settlers' indigenous struggles, Boko Haram or farmer, herders clashes, and the targets are the same, the victims are clearly ethnic, non-Muslim Nigerians.
Wow. If you're noticing Leah and I dance, it's because the puppy has decided to lay right where we would normally be standing. So we're kind of shoving our toes underneath of her body to get a footing here. It's heartbreaking.
I know.
And I hope that maybe as Christians, we can realize that there is real persecution. There are real tragedies that are happening, going through what other people are suffering.
Right.
And I think it's really important to do that so that you can give your full attention to what is happening to them.
Right. Exactly. So you have baby Macron, who racistly telling Africans to not have any more children or to lower their birth rate, and you're peaceful in Nigeria and you're fine. So just stay there. You're cool. I'm not telling people I want people to leave, but I am. The hypocrisy of Macron is absolutely insane. He says, these people, given the magnitude of this wave, cannot be accepted, at least not all of them. He said, we can take in some, but they're not coming just for, that's why you have to take everybody on an individual basis.
Well, but his statement doesn't make any sense. We can't take them all, but we can take some. Well, that's what we've been saying. That's what sound-minded people have been saying all along. And we can take immigrants. That's part of the process. Asylum seekers and real, legitimate refugees. But
not people just coming for work or people just wanting, all these young men,
right?
Who have become gang members and rapists. I mean, seriously.
As a westernized society, I think that we have a duty, unfortunately. This isn't so in a war where you treat the ones that are more likely to make it first and you leave the ones that are safe. It's not like that, okay? In this scenario, you have to take the people that are the worst off and that need it the most. And in this scenario, it is refugee seekers, okay, that are fleeing persecution, okay, not just economic migrants. We're talking about women and children. These are the people that you take in first. And I'm sorry, you full-grown, healthy males have to step to the back of the line.
Right. So what you have in France, this is a kind of an example of the mindset of people. So a man, an immigrant, 22-year-old Abu Bakr Fofana, he lost his life in police control on Tuesday. It was, I guess the police are saying, an accident, but what they have done afterwards, there's 4 nights of horrible, violent protests, and they've become, just
so this is
thugs.
a case of essentially they're calling police brutality.
They're calling it police brutality, yeah.
Right.
So you got this.
Just to be clear,
yeah. So they're throwing Molotov cocktails, and the police are having to use gas grenades. 4 nights straight, the riots between African migrants and the French police in the city of Nantes. This isn't something that you would expect if you're just walking down the streets. Oh, I'm going to visit France. I'm going on vacation. And all of a sudden, African people are throwing Molotov. I can never say it.
Molotov
cocktails at French police. It's so weird. On Wednesday, the police declared that they had shot the African young man in self-defense after he tried to overrun a police officer. And then they're saying it's an accident, so we don't know exactly. The scale of the current riots is more extensive than we see now on a regular basis in the French suburbs. The rioters torched numerous cars, a petrol station, a community library, a school, and several shops.
Wow.
There was even a report.
So that it wasn't the car. They're saying maybe he ran over and that was an accident. At least these aren't accidents. They did this.
So they expect riots in France to become more and more violent and eventually lethal. So you just have some craziness going on.
Il est excité, le gars, là.
Face-to-face between FN and anti-fascist and Nantes Front National came to support the police. Nantes, let's see, fourth nights of riots, 35 cars ablaze. So why would you just randomly set somebody else's car on fire? That's what I just don't quite understand with these with why the Africans are always in, whether it's
because it makes the biggest statement, and I think it makes you feel empowered.
Why you would, yeah. So go and destroy other things in your effort to protest. Whether it's, you can hear, you see fire. Could you imagine being just a Frenchman or woman, and then this is what your country has become? Some sort of like, they don't have enough.
You shouldn't look out your window and see fire, police, hear the sound of glass breaking.
Yeah, exactly. I guess these are fires. I don't know if you guys can see, but set that building on fire.
Oh my gosh.
They have nothing better to do with their lives, so when they just get angry about something, then they just thousands of books went up in smoke, I guess. Here's the library they burned to the ground. I can't imagine.
Here's another point that's worth making.
Multiculturalism, is this what this means?
When you enter into a country and you have no love for that country, it's not your country. You have no respect for it. It doesn't matter to you if you burn someone's car, if you burn someone's library, if you make chaos, if you are disturbing the public. Most of us, when we go into a place that isn't our own, we respect that place.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we respect, this is somebody else's home.
Right.
This means something to them. So it starts at that level of zero respect for where they are at. They don't care. Right. And then it reduces you to acting like an animal, or better, a spoiled, rotten child to get what you want.
Right, exactly. So also here, in Greece, a Muslim mob brutally attacks Christians in a refugee camp. Even children were threatened. Several Iranian Christians have been brutally attacked by angry Muslims last week. According to the International Christian Concerns, the attack took place at a camp at Kutuschero, where the Christians were holding a Bible study. The organization 222 Ministries International, which helps Iranian Christians, said the mob attacked them, threatening them with knives and beating the men, resulting in the hospitalization for 2 of them. The 2 women and the 2 young children were also threatened with knives. They were called kafirs and told to leave the camp. One of the men had a previous heart condition, and the attack caused him to pass out. An ambulance was called, but the mob tried to prevent its entry into the camp. The Greek police present did nothing, being massively outnumbered by the mob, 30 to 40 people. Wow. The attack has been reported to the local police, and Christians have been transferred to a safe place.
So here we are again, talking about the people that need it the most. If you are being persecuted for your religious stance, regardless of what your religion is, okay, it doesn't matter if you're a Muslim or if you're a Christian or if you're a Buddhist, whatever. If you're receiving persecution to the point of physical harm or economic harm, then you get pushed to a refugee status, and you should be pushed to the front of the line. You should be kept safe. You should be the one that is taken in. Okay, the mob of violent men, taken from your song, they do not get to come in. We don't need your kind in our country.
Yeah.
So I am still frozen here, and I think what we're going to do is I do have some stuff that I would like to share and did want to do. At the very end of the show, whether it's singing a song or sharing those videos, we're going to say, all right, Michelle's going to try to press escape here and fix this. And if she can, then yay, we'll move forward. If she can't, then it's bye-bye for now. So that's how we'll play that.
Our friends at Make Poland Great Again, is Prod IPPTV, they have this wonderful weekend Christian retreat. Just they're so powerful, and everything they do is so epic. And I want to put this link so you can kind of watch what they went through. But Patriot Gallery shared with me them singing "Our God is an Awesome God" in Polish.
Really?
Yeah. So I want to play it.
This is one of my all-time favorite songs.
Na niebiosach ma prognik miłość, mądrość, moc, nasz Pan ostateczny jest. Nasz Pan ostateczny jest wśród chwał. Na niebiosach ma prognik miłość, mądrość, moc, nasz Pan ostateczny jest. Nasz Pan ostateczny jest wśród chwał. Na niebiosach ma prognik miłość, mądrość, moc, nasz Pan potężny jest. Nasz Pan potężny jest wśród chwał. Na niebiosach ma prognik miłość, mądrość, moc, nasz Pan potężny jest.
Next day, we started this.
So I just thought it was awesome.
That is awesome. Oh my gosh. I love that
it.
song. So now you're going to have to like sing that song at the end of the show.
Yeah. So actually, I had closed out mine. So this is the time when you can escape.
So really?
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to try to in a second
Escape
here.
from Alcatraz.
I'm going to try to fix it. I'm going to try to press escape and get this all to unfreeze. I'm kind of 75% sure it's going to just shut us down. So before that happens, if you guys saw me open up Barry's gift to us last week, and I accidentally cut it across the top. And I said, I'm going to fix it. I'm going to fix it. And it had kind of come a little bit crinkled. So I fixed it. And I framed it. And for those of you that didn't get to see it, he is an engraver. And he made us our own coat of arms. All right. So we have a pig because we raise pigs. We have a dog because we're pet sitters. And then right here, what I didn't notice until he pointed it out is these are our initials, L and M. And then there is an eagle at the top. It's absolutely stunning. I don't even know if you can see it because I've got Leah's screen shining and this screen shining on it, but it's framed now and it's beautiful. And now I just have to pick a place to hang it. But we have our own coat of arms. Thank you, Barry. Very, very, very special. It's absolutely fantastic.
It's awesome.
All right. So now if you want to be patient with me while I try to...
Can you press escape yet?
I don't know if the escape is going to... Let's see. You know what? Oh, that might have done it.
Sometimes it does it. Go back. I think you might be back.
No, I don't know.
Yep, you're back.
Wait, but I don't know. Okay. All right, do you guys want to see the video? Wait, okay, so what I was trying to do in the process...
Won't let you?
Let me click. It's this preview editor that's giving me fits.
I see the preview editor with the fits.
Let me see. This whole program here is going really slow. So what I have on this software, for those of you guys that ever want to do it, I use XSplit. And I have a preview editor, which means I can kind of edit the screen that I'm going to bring to you guys next and then press just push live. I don't always have to run the preview editor. But now that entire program... What I can do is here. I know. Do you know how to go to your?
You can bring it up in the history. Oh, you can't.
I can, but I can though. Hang on a second. I can bring it up, and then you should be able to bring it up in your history, in my history. Let's see. Okay. Copy. Let me put it over here. You guys be patient, and we'll get this figured out. Do you know how to go to your history?
Well, just put it on Facebook. Share it on Facebook. I was pulling on Facebook.
Well, okay, but you could just go here. 3 little dots, history, go to this big history here. And then history of other devices. I love that you guys are being patient with us. Tabs from other devices.
Just share it on Facebook. I'll just bring it up there.
Okay. I will just share it on Resistance Chicks Facebook.
Yeah.
Patience is a virtue.
Yeah,
and
well.
you all have it. Your computer's going slow now, too.
I know. It's internet traffic here.
Could be. It's a Sunday. Or it just could be God doesn't. Or God wants you to show the video and the devil doesn't. That's what I like to say.
Yeah.
You'd struggle to have a pint in my favourite Hull boozer without hearing at least one conversation about Tommy Robinson. Last weekend, despite efforts to thwart it, thousands descended on London with one common purpose: to support him.
There's actually going to be another
Tommy
one
was imprisoned in somewhat
14th.
alarming speed for contempt of court, and his supporters are furious. It represents a huge number of people who have had enough. They have had enough of the PC narrative sweeping our nation. Enough of the inability to raise concerns about Islamism, enough of seemingly double standards, and enough of politicians going against their will. Whatever those in power may think about these people and their views, ignoring their concerns will be at their peril.
Well, you describe it as a bit silly. I think it's rather further on margins than that. But you talked about the people who came to that rally. And if you look through, it was intriguing because you had blokes and women who served in the military. Some had served in Northern Ireland, military veterans. And at the same time, you had Geert Wilders, who is a far-right Dutch politician whose views, I think, would probably upset most sane viewers. So it's a very broad church to whom he appeals. But if you come back to what he actually did, and it's interesting, isn't it? Because we've just, I think, come up last week or so, we've celebrated a group of people who openly flouted the law, broke the law, and brought about great change. I refer, of course, to the suffragettist movement, which was everything we thought. Mr. Robinson has done exactly the same, but there's nothing to applaud what he's done here. This is what you have to know, because he was warned that if he did it again, and people attending a court, whether they be jurors, whether they be defendants, whether they be court workers, they are entitled to go in without being subjected to any form of...
Why is there a different law for the Muslim rape trials than for, like, other things that you can report on while people are in trial?
That's a good question.
Like, I mean, here in America, we hear about ongoing trials all the time. All the time. It's an ongoing trial. That's what you hear about. You know? Why is it for Muslim rape gangs that you cannot hear about it?
I don't know.
Video or form of abuse. And for him doing that, the cause that I see what you're getting at, and there is a valid cause, and Majid needs to come in soon because he's talked very powerfully about this, and respectfully, it probably speaks more to his background than it does mine. And it is an important conversation about what people perceive as what is going on and what's being hushed up and what is too PC. You're not going to get that conversation by openly breaking the law. You're going to denigrate that conversation.
But the reason, and to make it specifically about your point, there is a huge concern about the speed in which Tommy was arrested, charged, and...
Find anyone ever who has been arrested, tried, and sentenced and put in prison in 5 hours.
Right.
Tell me who.
Convicted and sentenced.
If we can have that kind of swift justice, we would clear out a lot of backlog here.
Exactly. And the judge seen as a picture laughing.
To prison. And I mean, if you actually compare, we talk about child abuse, and I'm really, really keen to bring Majid in on this as well.
Oh, shoot. She's saying something good. Pause. My thing came undone.
We're just technical difficulties right and left
technical
here.
difficulties with everything here. I don't know what happened. I have no volume. I hit a button. I love my life. It's gone.
It's not behind you.
Oh,
That's
it's
fine.
still not working. Well, help. Can you help me?
I will help you when you get it plugged back in. I think it'll work.
No, it's not working.
Careful.
It's not working. Wait, it kind of did. It worked.
I don't think you're supposed to blow in them, actually.
Yeah, you can.
It's not like Nintendo, because it puts moisture inside.
Well, it's not working. It's not working. Blow on it. No.
Hang on.
No. It was kind of working.
Remember when you said, Michelle, you need to act like mature when
I'm trying to tell you that it was working when you wiggled. Plus, then you're playing it in the background, and I don't know how to rewind it.
I actually have my thing fixed. I can just play it.
Okay, because I can't get to
what minute are you at?
I don't know, because I can't get to the
All
bottom
right, people.
Here.
I love that. Just, hey, now it's. Wait a minute.
It's racing.
What? So it's the video you're having issues with.
No, it's gone now.
Well, it just said Resistance Chicks, and it never said Resistance Chicks right there.
It was gone.
All right, so we're gonna pull it up on my end. Here we have it. See, no, look, that says Resistance Chicks. So
that's because I think you switched it. I think you switched it.
Oh wait, I just pushed live the wrong thing. Right,
help Tommy leave the EDL because I didn't want to see the rise of another organized.
I don't know what's happening behind me right now.
You escape from there. And then do this. And then click duplicate.
Yeah, you pressed extend.
No, it was on extend when I got there. All right. Do you want me to do it here or do you want to do it there?
I'll do it here.
Okay. Who openly flouted the baby needs to come in.
If you actually compare, we talk about child abuse, and I'm really keen to bring Majid in on this as well. What I sense in Tommy Robinson is this case is the tip of an iceberg.
No. Tommy broke the law, and my immediate reaction when he broke the law was that justice should be served for anyone against anyone that breaks the law.
Leeds Live and Hull Daily Mail broke the very same law by reporting Tommy's sentence that weekend, and no arrests or prison time were made for them.
Feeding that there's a point among anti-Islam populists isn't feeding their narrative, just as conceding Muslims may have a point on some of their grievance isn't feeding the jihadist narrative. And I think, as I said earlier, sometimes we do need to acknowledge things when it's as clear as day in front of us. And there is a wider point here that I think is as clear as day. And that wider point is, I think all of us need to... I grew up with organised racism, far-right racism, BNP, Combat 18, and it's why I helped Tommy leave the EDL, because I didn't want to see the rise of another organised form of street protest movement that picks on people like me. When I helped him leave the EDL, he said he left because the neo-Nazis had infiltrated this movement. Now, part of the problem here is that if we've got up to 10 to 15,000 people rallying around one man now, I think all of us should take stock and step back and think, because no other politician in this country can gather that many people on the streets. So I think it is something that gives us pause to thought to consider what's going on a wider basis here. What are the concerns? Now, I think I know what some of the concerns are. They revolve around a lot of a perception around injustice. The grooming gangs, it took ages for them to be first acknowledged that they exist, and then for justice to be brought against them.
Interjection. Yep. There's a grooming gang have been dealt with today, and only 2 newspapers have decided to cover it. One of which doesn't even refer to their background. Indeed. The other calls of Asian.
That is because there is a state cover-up going on.
And they're not, but they're not Pakistani or Pakistani Muslim. We've got to accept that. Now, the other thing is that, so whereas the grooming gangs took ages to acknowledge and bring to justice, Tommy was so swiftly brought to justice. That's point one. But the second point is, if you remember the terrorism legislation that stopped Lawrence Southern coming into this country, that same terrorism legislation was silent last Sunday when terrorist flags were raised in our streets, Hezbollah flags. I spoke at that rally against them on behalf of the Jewish community. And I think that if the perception is allowed to continue that Muslims can raise flags literally with machine guns on them, right? For a group that swears that it wants to wipe Jews out completely and actually engages in terrorism.
This is the Al-Quds rally.
Yeah, while a Canadian white Christian alt-right journalist or populist journalist, whatever we want to call her, was banned from entering the country under that same terrorism legislation. People are going to see that inconsistency and become very, very angry. I worry about the state of race relations in this country unless we address that fairly and squarely.
Just say Northern Irish veterans.
Of course, his
I'm not saying I'm not.
Sole conviction.
I don't like her.
So that's one thing. There
refused as far.
I don't like
we know this. Yeah.
We know this, but nobody seems to be able to have this conversation.
It's
For
troubling
example,
that only 2 papers ran the story Michelle is
and
referring.
they don't
They're
even
not referring to
mention
them
the
as Pakistani
common
Muslims.
connection of them being a Muslim. For example, Rotherham, Rochdale, Newcastle, Telford, Aylesbury,
paper is that?
Derby,
Is that the
Bristol,
Mail?
Keighley, Peterborough.
But the Mail doesn't usually pull its punches on any of these things. So
only reference to Muslim is the following. This is one of the defence barristers saying, in defence of one of these guys, you know, basically this guy is immature. Defending Assad Hussein, he pointed to his client's upbringing in the Muslim community, which he said does have a tendency to encourage clandestine relationships because he was not allowed to bring girlfriends home or have sex before marriage.
They are no more practicing Muslims than I am. And if you get a couple of football, but if you get a couple of football players, hold on, guys, you get a couple of
very quickly. Sorry, but the descriptor I think is relevant if it's part of the motivation for the crime. If it's not related to why the crime was committed, then of course it's not relevant. Here in their court testimonies, they talk about why.
Is it their faith or the nationality?
No, it's their culture, and religion is part of culture, right? And we can't deny that. And they talk about these girls being white, and they talk about them being non-Muslims in their own defence. Yeah.
Before you mention this lawyer, this paper has given more information about the make and model of the van that the kid was abused in.
Can we just say that, you know, you're not sitting in a newsroom having to publish a newspaper which you...
Oh, you're not making those tough decisions on what's important. So we want to talk about the make and model of the van and not the fact that this is a Muslim Pakistani grooming gang.
Right.
She held her ground. She was 3-2 on that. And she did a good job. And you could tell she was a bit nervous. But she did a really good job. Okay.
All right, so you have... So now hang on.
That's it. My show is over.
Your show's over, but I got to get Jasper. Come here, Jasper.
Do you hear Jasper coming in, puppy? A puppy. Puppy here, if you're just joining us. A little puppy. That's Bailey. Okay.
All right, so, Britt Baza had wanted me to share some stuff, but because we're having technical difficulties, I don't even want to try right now.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to. I had also wanted to share, Kelly, our moderator, Kelly, has been,
if you didn't see the puppy at the beginning.
Jasper, now everyone is here. This is such a, I can't. All right, so one of the piglets that Kelly took, Tomato, named thanks to So What, got attacked by a dog. She and her family, Stephen and Eric, have been nursing it back to health, and she has some adorable videos on her page, Kelly P_B fam, of them together. Her son Stephen gets the preach on in one of them. I don't remember which one it was. So, since I can't pull them up right now because we're having issues, we will try to do it later this week. But otherwise, you can just go to her channel and check them out. So, are you going to do a song or are you just going to cuddle the puppy?
I have.
She's literally on the couch cuddling the puppy.
Well, I had to put her back down. Yeah, I want to sing my duct tape song.
That's okay. We're going to sing the duct tape song. All right. Redneck had asked, what kind of knife do I carry with me? It's a Kershaw.
Somebody sent it to us.
I think it was Buzzy that sent that. And it's a switchblade, which I really like because it makes me feel safe that I can just open it very quickly. It's very handy to have. Normally, I will be perfectly honest, when I'm wearing a dress, I still wear it. Let's put it that way. I wear it all the time. Today, we're just doing the show. I did not. Sometimes I fall asleep and I'm like, I wake up and I've kind of got like an indent because I've been sleeping with it on. I do wear it all the time. All right, so Leah's going to go and tune the guitar. Britt says, Resistance chicks, we chopped a head off of a king for committing treason in the UK 350 years ago after a civil war. Yes, where is Sydney? Sydney is taking a nap. But I want you guys to go and check out that video of Kelly's. All right, so let me go. I'm just so terrified of even touching this software at this moment. Anytime I have to go over here because it's going to mess up. All right, there's Leah. This is a Leah original song that you've played once on the show already, right?
I have played it once. I have to remember this Which way?
And tomato is doing better. Much, much better. That's the point of the video. It's really, really fun. You guys will enjoy it. Thank you to all of our moderators who were here today. I feel like almost every single moderator that we have was here. We had Kelly, Maia, Sooks, Amber, Gary, Sean, Tracy, Worth a Look, Britt Baza, Patriot Gallery's in for Resistance Chicks. It just felt like almost all of you, and then Kelly, obviously I think I said your name. Thank you guys for being here. We love you. You guys are fantastic. If you guys left a comment in the comment section that I didn't see or didn't read out loud, which there were a lot that were pertinent to the topic, please leave it on the video after it processes so others can see it, share it, and a discussion can start as a part of that. So, all right, we're ready.
Yes, we are.
I'm ready.
There's the rest of those words in case you need that.
Oh, thank you.
Wait, I didn't write down actually.
All right, you keep working on that because I'm going to plug my article again. I don't know how many shares it's had on resistancechicks.com. I have to tell you, we blog a lot, Isaiah 58 Ministries. You can go and check stuff out there. But thanks to Jay, now that we have a website, when I start writing an article, it just makes me feel like totally legit. So, you know, you can patronize me and pat me on the head and say, good Michelle, and share the article because it's really fun for me. I'm not going to put ads on there. It's ad-free article. How often do you get that? You go to read somebody else's article and you have to close out like 800 ads. And when you go to our website, you can actually subscribe to have an email sent to you, which that does have ads. I can't control that. I don't get any money from it. It's the app that does. You can subscribe so that every time we put out a new article, you get a notification. Unfortunately, though, I try to share every video that we have, and I don't always write an article, so you'll get an email for that too. But I can walk 1,000 miles with you as long as you bring that super glue with a chainsaw and an axe. We can sit back and relax, 'cause I know you'll build a palace for me. She's trying to remember how it goes. I'm just helping.
Just the chord progression.
It's more, no, it's not the chord, you got the chord progression right. It's faster. It's like, go faster.
It's not faster.
And then you switch. As long as you bring that super switch.
I know.
I'm helping.
No, I know it goes faster.
No, but I'm telling you when to switch. I can tell you exactly when the switch is.
Okay. But I don't know to which one. That's the
You didn't write it down?
No.
You're going to write it down now. That sounds right. That's it right there. Nope.
Oh, we're gonna try it anyway.
All right, we're gonna go with it.
All right, so this is a little ditty. This is for all my redneck American friends and for people actually all over the world who a little duct tape, a little baling wire. We were out there and Matt was trying to.
If you aren't from America, you may not know that the saying around here goes, "Duct tape will fix anything."
Right. Exactly, and we do. You see people use duct tape for everything.
Baling wire, it's literally like a galvanized steel.
Galvanized steel. You just tie something up. Even the other day, Matt's working on Michelle's Jeep, and Uncle Jack's like, just get a little wire and just like put it around the nut and something, and twine. So that's what this song is about. And I love this song. I sing this song myself like all the time.
Somebody said this is like a soccer shirt. It's a dress. Somebody said it's not the right colors. I'm told that the UK has beat out Sweden. This is very exciting news. And I'm told I'm wearing the wrong soccer-colored shirt.
That's
well,
awesome.
I didn't know. I would have worn UK colors. I don't know. Maybe.
But, and also...
I don't have any other thing like this.
With this song, God has answers for us. That's why you get into the Word, right? That's why we get into scriptures, because when you come into a tough position, a scripture will come to you. Right. And when you don't have a scripture to come to you, and you just don't know what to do, just get on your knees and just say, Jesus, save me. And that's that, and it'll help. All right. Okay. Everything's gonna be just fine, cause God's my duct tape. Hey babe, he can fix anything. The Lord is our duct tape. Hey babe, he can fix anything. Oh, 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 oh. There's a simple. I'm gonna get it.
This is what happens when you preview a song you just wrote.
There's a simple answer to many things. All of life's problems, no matter how big it seems. Duct tape, baling wire, twine and string. If that don't work, I'm getting down on my knees. I'm calling on the Almighty and His saving hand, who parts the Red Sea so we can walk on dry land. He's moving those mountains straight out of the way. He's healing blind eyes and He's robbing those graves. Duct tape, baling wire, twine and string. If that don't work, I'm getting down on my knees. With a little baling wire and twine, you can be mine. With a little duct tape, hey babe, we can fix anything. With a little duct tape, hey babe, we can fix anything. Scripture is my baling wire and twine. Everything's gonna be just fine, cause God's our duct tape, duct tape. Hey babe, we can fix anything. The Lord is my duct tape. Hey babe, we can fix anything. And I could walk 1,000 miles with you, as long as you bring that super glue. And with the chainsaw and an axe, we can sit back and relax, cause I know you'll build a palace for me. Oh, as it was meant to be.
Just make it up, baby. Close enough. It's close enough. We'll roll with it.
There's a simple answer to many things. All of life's problems, no matter how big it seems. Duct tape, baling wire, twine and string. If that don't work, I'm getting down on my knees. I'm calling on the Almighty and His saving hand.
progression.
Close enough, I know.
Then you do the whoa. You didn't do the whoa.
Dug day, baling wire, twine and string. If that don't work, I'm getting down on my knees. I'm calling on the Almighty and His saving hand, who parts the Red Sea so we can walk on dry land. He's moving those mountains straight out of the way. He's healing blind eyes and He's robbing those graves. Duct tape, baling wire. Duct tape, baling wire. I'm calling on the Almighty. Yeah. I'm calling on the Almighty. Yeah. He's healing blind eyes and He's robbing those graves. Dug tape, baling wire, twine and string.
Yay! Go team.
Yeah.
It's a fun song.
It's a
It's
fun
stuck
song.
in my
I
head
love
all
this
day
song.
whenever we
All
sing
day.
it. It's
I
going to be
just-
stuck in your head too.
Yep, it will.
And the chord progression there is the same as the way you finished it.
1,000 miles with you, as long as you bring that super glue, and with a chainsaw and an axe, we can sit back and relax, 'cause I know you'll build a palace for me.
See, I told you it's the exact same thing.
As it was meant. I can't. No, see, the problem with the chord progression is it's changed up. The timing's changed up. I can't remember.
We'll work on it. I think they like participating in Leah's creative process. More cowbell, says Gary. Kelly says Steven loves this song. I do too. It's really, really great. You only get to vote for 2 choices in Europe, bad and worse. And you know what? I think God is fixing that. We like to end our show with hope. God really is moving. Things are changing. We are winning, and I want you guys to be excited. You have to go through battles in order to win a war, but we're winning the war. And the battles are hard to fight, but we are definitely winning.
Well, Steven, this kind of song is written for people like you, people who actually do fix things with duct tape, baling wire, twine. You actually get the song.
Yes.
And God is that way. When you just don't, you've run out of all options and you just don't know what to do, call on the Lord. He'll be
You
there.
should actually call on Him first before you run out
through
of all
your
options,
daily life,
but yeah.
you're just randomly doing things, right? You just you talk to the Lord, but like there are times when you're just like, this isn't working anymore. What's happening?
All right. So we're going to see you back later this week. Friday for sure at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then again on Sunday, hopefully somewhere in between. I got an email from Nick, a.k.a. Blue Guy, from the Parkland shooting the other day asking or saying that he would love to be on the show again. So I would like to do like maybe a half hour with Nick and kind of get an update about what the town feels like, what the people are going through, if he's had a chance to talk to other people, because I have not spoken with him. I don't even have the answers to these questions yet.
Right.
So maybe we'll have time to do that one night this week.
Yeah.
So
that sounds awesome.
All right, you guys, we love you.
And God loves you.
God bless. Remember, it's not just a conspiracy theory.
If it's the truth.
Oh, also, okay, so since we're kind of like a club, we have an order of business to take care of. One of our viewers sent us a check in the mail. And you guys know we don't ask for money. If we ever get money, we usually put it toward equipment. That being said, they wrote a check for $100 and wrote it out to Resistance Chicks. Now, I have no way of cashing that check. unless Leah and I do an official, like, Resistance Chicks is a business. We get an EIN number. We form a partnership. And then I can get a bank account. I can't do a DBA, doing business as, for Resistance Chicks because our last name isn't in the name. It's a little bit confusing, though, because there is Mass Faith 3, which is the YouTube channel, and there's the Resistance Chicks. I can't remember. It's been so long since we did it for our pet sitting service. I'm not sure how much it costs. So I may go ahead and do it, is my point. I'm not sure. I haven't decided yet. I'm going to pray about it. But so I wanted to give that to you guys. If you did want to contribute to equipment or something like that, or send money, maybe for right now, don't write it out to Resistance Chicks until I can figure out what I'm going to do. The puppy probably does need to go out and go potty. So that's Leah's way of saying she's going to take the puppy potty. And I'm going to sign off here. We love you guys. God loves you. God bless. And we will see you back later this week, and hopefully with Nick from the Parkland shooting. That would be really awesome. So, all right, you guys. God bless.
I was cold, all alone. No place for home every day. So afraid, but you call my name.